Okay, okay, we are live. Welcome to It's Getting Better All the Time Mental Health Outreach. As always, everybody knows it takes me a minute to get this going. But with your host, Sister Ayla Gree, and this is
Sister Courtney Kelly.
And we are It's Getting Better All the Time Mental Health Outreach, providing information and support while encouraging hope and faith. Okay, let me make sure we're good here. Turn this down. Okay, today we're going to talk about, first of all, who we are. This is It's Getting Better All the Time Mental Health Outreach, providing information and support while encouraging hope and faith. You can log on to our website at igbatt.com to find out more information about us. Also, what we have coming up, we have a Mental Health 2020 mental health event coming up. Please go onto our website and register. We would love to see you there.
Yes.
Well, we're going to talk about, we have a topic talking about overcoming obstacles, but before we do, I wanted to share a definition. What is mental health? Mental health includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It affects how we think, feel, and act. Mental illnesses are brain illnesses. When we're talking about, people say it's demonic or whatever, then that's something else. What we're talking about are brain illnesses, which are mental illnesses.
Mm-hmm.
They impact your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, and they are treatable. If you are listening to us and you want some more information about mental health or mental illness, log on to our website at igbatt.com. But if you're feeling in distress right now, you're feeling suicidal, or you have thoughts, first call 911 if it is an emergency. But if not, call 1-800-273-8255, 1-800-273-8255, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can call that number and someone will be on the other line to talk with you. Now, today, like I said, we wanted to talk about overcoming obstacles, aka what happened to the dream. A lot of obstacles are things that get in our way. Sometimes it can be an illness, sometimes it can be, a mental illness. Sometimes we think just because I have a mental illness, I can't do anything. But like we like to say here, you may have a mental illness doesn't have to stop you. It just means you may have to move a little slower. So let's talk about what happened to the dream, Sister Carol. What happened?
Okay, well, many times we have dreams, but as you said, the obstacles that get us off focus of what the dream is, and we may have one dream, but the Lord may want us to go in a different direction away from the dream at that particular time. So instead of seeing that, then we just give up altogether. However, we can also be going through things, and this, like you said, age, disabilities, all these things can come in, and they will appear to be obstacles.
Right, because a lot of times we think once I'm over 50 now, it's too late for me.
And then when talking to other people about your dream, then they're, oh no, I don't know why you want to do that, da-da-da-da-da-da. But God may not have given them your dream, but you're listening more to them than finding out what do I need to do to accomplish the dreams that I have. Yes, there may be things, so you have to get to that place that what is important to you, what are the priorities as far as moving forward. There may be criticisms, and all these things may go on, disapprovals, even disappointments in the midst of your dream. But the thing is, what am I going to do to overcome all these obstacles in this dream that I have? So I need to find out. People have dreams, but then in having the dream, they haven't found out what a person may not find out what I need to do to be able to get this dream accomplished in my life.
So you're saying I may get a prophetic word, but I don't do anything, or I don't pray to ask the Lord what I should do next.
Yeah, so I'm just sitting on it, and maybe one day I will, and procrastination, and then as we grow older, back again to what you said is age, and sometimes even sicknesses, and all these things. just because it's a sickness, it doesn't necessarily mean that I have to give up on my dream. Okay? As you said, it may take a little longer to get there, but we can have goals. We have our plan, then there's God's plan. Okay? And I'm going to use this as an example. My desire was that when I was younger, that when I get older, I have a home. If either one of my parents got sick, that I would be the one that would take them into the home, take care of them or whatever. Well, I didn't get the home. But I ended up being the one, going back and forwards. And the Lord just reminded me of that this week. This was a desire of yours, okay, that you would be able to take care of your parents when you got older. And so it's not just been my mom, it was my stepmom, and now it's my dad, okay? Not in the way that I thought I would be doing it, but it still came to pass. So sometimes because it's not the way we think it is, we think it's over, then I can might as well just give up on it. It don't necessarily mean that whatever dream God have given you, you don't know what path He has for you to get to where He needs. May have to take you off of what you think to be your course at this particular time, because there's some development that needs to be done. Okay, you may not be as patient anymore. You may not be as focused as you need to be for it. Whatever the reason being, God knows why He takes us around, as we would say, Robin Hood's barn, to bring us back to the front of the barn, because I haven't learned what I need to learn in the midst of this dream that I have. So these are some things that I need to find out, that the individual needs to find out about themselves. And then sometimes we so busy trying to meet other people's approval that we don't stay focused with what the dream is, the purpose that God has for us.
You know, when you're saying that right there, two things came to my mind. I thought about Abraham. Abraham, the Lord has given Abraham a dream, but Abraham didn't stay focused. He listened to Sarah, and he went out and had another baby, right? Because he thought it was over, right? He thought, okay, well, I may as well go ahead and do this, because Sarah was the one that said to Abraham, go ahead and take my handmaid and have a baby with her, you know. And, you know, he was like, okay, I'll go ahead and do that. But he didn't stay focused. And not staying focused, he wound up causing more problems.
That's right. And that's why we're going through a lot of things that we're going through over in the Holy Lands now. Because Jacob and the Esau, I'm sorry, wrong one. Isaac and Ishmael, you know, power struggles still going on. So we don't know how many things from the generations gone are affecting the things which are going on now, you know, because of that. Not just even with him, it was God had told Adam that he could eat of anything there, but the tree in the midst of the garden, you shall not eat. It was the wife, okay? He compromised.
Another person.
Right, so that compromising caused us to be in some of the situations that we're still going through with today, all right? So in that, what we're saying is, when the Lord has given you something, it is important that you make some. God has already given us a promise. He said, my thoughts of you are thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected, and that means to give you a future. Okay, so God has a purpose for each and every one of us in our lives, and whatever it is. Yes, things happen. It cannot rule it out at all, because he said man is a few days on the earth full of trouble. So there are going to be things. Not only that, not just people, the enemy don't want to see us succeed either. So he'll use, and when he uses people, they may not even necessarily know they're being used by the enemy. Okay, and that's why it's important to keep a prayer life in the midst of whatever it is. The purpose is that God has for our lives is to.
No, I was just going to say, keeping that prayer life and keeping focus, because going back, you know, like what you were saying, is God will use people and they don't even know that they're being used to get you off track. But if you know what the Lord has called you to do, or that dream or that vision, then you can get back on track with that.
Yes,
you know?
yes.
I think about age. Going back, you were talking about before. I think about Joshua, and I believe it was Caleb. Right? They were all gung ho to go over to do what the Lord had called them to do. But it was 10 other spies that said, no, don't do that.
Mm-hmm. And so the people listened to the other 10.
Mm-hmm.
And see, and then what happened? Joshua was 80 years old.
Mm-hmm.
When he fought 40 years later, was he able to step into the promised land.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about obstacles. It took a lot of years, and that's one thing sometimes that discourages
Mm-hmm.
people. They say, well, I've gotten to be this age now, and I might as well just give up. It's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm. You're tired, your bones hurt.
Yeah. Oh, what you talking about? Mm-hmm. Yeah, but in the midst of all of it, we still have to remember that God has a plan. And even with plans, sometimes, and I'm going to use this as an example, in the book of Hebrews, it lets us know that a lot of them died not seeing the promise. But the thing is, they didn't give up their faith. They held on. And because of that, they were able to persevere. They were able to still go on. And believing in the faithfulness of God, in what the dream, the promise was. Okay?
And think about it. Some of us, we can't even believe for 40 weeks.
4 days. Even.
Right, 4 days, right?
Yeah.
We're done,
Mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm.
But these people, like you said, they died in the promise,
Mm-hmm.
and Caleb and Joshua, they had to wait 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
Moses had to wait.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
at first Moses was gung-ho, I'm going to deliver the people,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when he killed an Egyptian and tried doing it his way.
Mm-hmm.
So he was 40 years out.
Mm-hmm.
John the Baptist had to wait,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
John the Baptist was in the wilderness.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus even had to wait.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times there's a waiting process.
Yeah, even to the point that John the Baptist sent message to the Lord. He said, "Are you he?"
Because he was getting
Or
discouraged.
is there another?
Mm-hmm.
So we want you to know that yes, discouragement is, we're human.
Yeah.
We're going to have discouragements, okay? They're going to be things, but the thing is, you must hold on and trust. Well, find out for yourself. I mean, I've had to go back and just being honest about me, and I've had to tell the Lord many times, forgive me, because I didn't trust you in this area like I thought I. Because we think we got it going on. I'll never give up on God. I'll never lose faith. Things are going to come in your
That's
life.
right. Years are going to
Mark
pass.
it
Time.
down.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, as long as you lay down and get up every day, there's going to be something different to make you find out, do I have all that I think? Am I able to hold on to that hope like I thought I
That's
could?
right.
Okay.
Because we can say anything in this season.
Mm-hmm.
I always say the Lord has two, I just say this, two, his most famous or his most trustworthy servants is Satan and time.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. That's true.
Time, like you said, can you hold on during that time period?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that is the thing. And then when we get to a certain age,
Mm-hmm.
from what I've seen, I admire those that have gotten to be a certain age and are able to still have that stamina and move forward. Society, and we have to realize that now the seniors are living much longer than they used to. But society have said, and I've heard it over and over again, what I'm getting ready to say, that when you get to this age, automatically, this stops. When you get to this age, automatically, you can't move. I understand we can't move like we did before, but it doesn't mean I'm supposed to give up on life.
Right, exactly.
Okay? Now that I got older, well, when you get to see a certain age, you automatically start forgetting things. Well, when you're in a lot of pressure, I don't care if you're 20 years
right.
old, you're going to forget stuff. Okay, so we don't want to, harbor on that. And then when you get a little older, they say, well, when you get older, this happens, that happens. There are young people that are still going through some of the things. I know of a young lady who was, teenager, and she was born with arthritis. Okay, so but we think that because we get to this age, that we automatically supposed to have arthritis. This is supposed to be. We need to get rid of all that mess, okay? If we're going to either trust God or we're not. I'm not saying things don't happen.
Right,
Please don't misunderstand me. I mean, I sit here as a person that, and I'm grateful to God. I'm in 12 years of God healing me from cancer.
Amen.
But and I have a loved one, I love her dearly, but when she calls me, are you okay? Are you not having any symptoms? Are you, you seeing your doctor? That's where her mindset is. I'm going on.
Right.
Okay? I'm not back there anymore. And so I said, I'm fine. You sure? I'm okay. You sure you all right? Yes, I am. And I stand on that.
Amen.
Okay? I don't have to we don't use what I've seen from those of us that are in Christendom, that have accepted the Lord Jesus as our personal Savior. Do we really know all that the promises that God has for us? Okay? Yes, sicknesses do come, but he also said many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivered them out of, not some of them all. Do we believe that? Okay, I've talked to people and they can go down the line and tell me all the symptoms because they've accepted. The doctor said, I'm going to do this, 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 and this. They can tell me all of those things. But then when you ask them about the Lord, well, I know he's real. And boom, that's it. Okay? Can we stand firm? We're talking about overcoming obstacles.
Right.
Can we stand firm and still believe God no matter what's going on in our life?
And that's the thing, because the enemy desires to kill, steal, and destroy, and he does it by stealing our dreams. Everybody that's here, the Lord has a purpose for us living. Whether you're, whatever your illness is, whatever your condition, circumstance, he has a purpose for us.
Yes, and
And things will come up, and we let those things overtake us.
And there are going to be, we have to realize, and I say this continuously and I'll stand on it, the greatest warfare there is not out here. It's right here.
That's right.
Okay? All right. He said the flesh war against the spirit and the spirit against the flesh. So my ideas, if the ideas that we get and the thoughts that come, especially when you under, I don't want to say under attack, but when you're in the midst of a struggle, when those obstacles are there, what kind of thoughts do we have? Okay, my own thoughts can take me off course from my dreams because I'm looking at my circumstances. I'm listening to what other people are saying. And so he said in his word, he tells us to cast down every imagination and high thing that exalts itself what? Against the knowledge of God. Facts are, this is what's going on. This is what I feel, okay? Truth is, the Lord told me he would deliver me.
Right. And that's the knowledge of God.
So what am I going to stand on? Okay? Yes, the obstacles are there. Yes, I get disappointed. Yes, you hear criticism. Yes, your flesh will want you to compromise and take down. Yes, you may feel a little fearful. But the thing is, how am I going to overcome this fear?
That's right. Because here's the thing. I may be 70, but if the Lord said that he wanted me to start this women's ministry or work with women, then that's what I need to do.
He said the older women teach the younger.
That's right.
So what is an older woman? One is in the 50s to the 70s.
Right, exactly.
I can't, I might not, I'm just calling it like it is, may not be able to move like I want to.
Right.
But if I can still talk, I can sit down and be some encouragement to some young person.
That's it. That's it.
Okay?
That's it.
As long as there's breath in our body, God still has something for us to do.
That's right. So that dream doesn't die. Okay, that dream doesn't die. You might think, okay, I don't have the ability. No, you may not be as smart as somebody else, or as be able to speak like somebody else. But that what you can do, you'd be surprised what you can do once you start doing it.
What did they say when they came down out of from just because I want to say it, when they were up in the upper room, and what was they say? It says these men are unlearned, and they thought they were drunk. Okay, because everybody could interpret in their language what they were doing. They said that, then he says, "We're not drunk as you suppose, but this is that which the prophet Joel has spoken of." Okay, and I'm saying that to say they knew that they weren't the educated ones. So thank God for those that are educated and God can use them, but God uses people beyond their education.
That's
okay?
Right.
If we trust in him, he can use you beyond that.
That's right.
But the question is, who am I trusting? Am I just trusting my ability, or am I going to trust the ability of God in my life?
Right. And one of the things we listed here, we listed fear. You get focused so much on other people. With fear of disapproval, discouragement, criticism, and compromise. But all of these things come to get us to turn on ourselves. And when we start looking at ourselves, we're walking in pride. We're letting pride get in the way.
That's right.
So when the Lord said, I want you to go to, Timbuktu and preach the gospel, you're going to be a vessel. I'm going to use you in this manner. Oh, I can't do it because I can't speak. I can't do this. I can't do that. Really what you're saying is that, one, you know more than the Lord. and as you're walking in pride. Right? Sometimes you have to say, okay, Lord, I don't feel I can do this, but show me what I need to do.
Yes, absolutely.
Lord, how do I do this? How do I step out? There was this one lady I was listening to, this one prophet. She has like this big ministry on YouTube. And she said when she first started, it was only like 2 or 3 people. She had a gap in her tongue, a gap in her teeth. She would talk real loud, she said, and whatever. And out of the 3 people, I believe she said maybe like 1 or 2 of them were like trolls. People would come and just say anything. So she really only had 1 positive person.
Okay.
But she kept going, and was faithful to it. So the thing is, we can't allow discouragement or other people to get in the way. When God has a vision, when He has something for you to do, it may be you're going to start out rocky. I joke when I come on here. I always got to figure out how you work the thing and all that stuff. But that's okay. Little by little, time by time, we'll get to where we need to be. The thing is being faithful. God is not looking for people who are perfect. He's looking for people who are obedient. Looking for people who are yielded to Him. Okay. But if He tells you to go right, you go right. If He tells you to go left, you go left. That's all He wants you to do. He'll do the rest.
It is so interesting that you said, and one of the words on there is criticism, and I'm going back a little ways. I remember when Apostle Howard had the radio broadcast, and I was one of the ones that, and one of the other sisters, we'd go on Sunday morning to get it going, and I heard from one person that were telling me, I talk too fast. Well, when I get excited, I still do, and I know that, okay? But from the other part, she was saying, well, my voice sounded too sensual when I was on the radio.
Are you too sexy on the radio?
Yes. And so I'm like, when I got involved with Is Getting Better All the Time Mental Health, and you started saying we were going to do taping, and I'm like, okay, God, how do I talk? What do I say? But I could feel the anxiety. Why? Because my mind was going back to the criticism and things that were said about how I talked. And I'm like, okay, God, you made me this way. I know I talk fast. So I need you. If I need to be balanced, balance me. And so I didn't want to do it, all right? And so I was satisfied with just sitting here. Amen. Well, God had to push me out there.
Yeah, both of us.
Okay, there comes a time when God, I'm just being honest, you all, sometimes we feel like we're not capable of doing the things. That's a normal feeling. And I told someone the other day, whenever we get to the place that we so cocky, I know I got this, I can do it, get ready to fall, because you get back to that pride that you're talking about, okay? Oh yeah, I can handle this. No, I never want to get to that place that I'm so confident in me that no matter what, no, I want to always be in a place of dependence on the Lord and whatever it is that the Lord has for us to do. So we've been doing this how many years now?
About 5, 6.
Okay. So, but what I'm getting at is, who would have thought that we'd be doing what we're doing now if we just stayed with whether or not we had the right abilities to do it, okay? So I want to encourage whoever is listening, if God has given you something, just begin to seek Him, seek His direction, and He will, and we'll, pray that He will connect you with the right people so that you can get going in whatever it is that God has for you to do in your life.
And I like the word when you use about capable, because I think about 2 people in the Bible. I think about, going back to the children of Israel, when they were saying how the 10 spies came back with the report and said, we look like grasshoppers in these people's eyes. And the question was, how did you know you were grasshoppers? Who told you were grasshoppers? But this was their mindset. The children of Israel were slaves. They had been slaves all their lives, so they were used to being beat down, used to being, told you're not going to be anything, or treated that way. That's what the enemy has done to us, right?
Even so much so that when time went on, when they got tired of manna, what did they want to do? They wanted to go back back to the good stuff. They forgot all about the fact that they had been persecuted, that they'd been slaves, and how they had to struggle, how they'd lost some of them. None of that mattered anymore. They just wanted the fish and the loaves.
And that's how we are when God calls us out to something, right? We forget about how we felt before with salvation and before the Lord called us. We always just want to go back. I want to, oh, it was better when this, or I can do this. You know, we forget all about that. That's a slave mentality. That slave mentality, you know, somebody always taking care of you. You don't have to make any decisions. You don't have to make any choices. And then as soon as something happened, you want to complain. You know, but the Lord didn't call us to be slaves. He called us to be free.
That's right.
He freed us through the gospel to do what? To do what He would call us to do. So you look at the children of Israel. I can't make it. Moses said the same thing. Well, you know, Moses was like, Lord, I thank you for calling me, but I'm not able. I'm not the one.
I'm slow to speech.
Right. Pick somebody else.
Yes.
I think about Gideon. What always amazes me about Gideon in the Bible, how Gideon had all these fears and stuff. And the Lord, there's a scripture in Gideon where it says Gideon went down to the camp, and he overheard the people talking about him. One guy had a dream, and the other guy said, you know, that's nobody but Gideon. Basically, he's going to kill us. I'm just paraphrasing, right? With Gideon. But what always gets me, the point that Gideon wasn't as afraid as he thought he was, because he actually went down to the camp. So he went down to the enemy's camp. A lot of times we don't know what's in us.
That's right.
We underestimate what God has put in us because we're so focused on what we can't do and on our weaknesses. We all can list our weaknesses. We all can list our weaknesses. We can list our problems. But when it goes to listing our strengths in Jesus, we can't necessarily do that. Go ahead. I need to find that scripture now. Go ahead.
He's already told us that we're more than conquerors. Okay, and so, but do we believe that? You know, whatever we need, God have already given us through the blood of the Lord Jesus Christ, and we're gonna go through. As long as I can't say it enough. As long as we're on this earth, there's going to be situations that's going to be coming up. There's going to be, as we call them, obstacles today, you know, that would come to cause us to not to want to persevere in the things that God has for us. But if we can go in His ability, He let us know, you know, without Him we can do nothing. And so if we can hold on and recognize that it's not about me. We sing that song, it's not about you, it's about Jesus. Well, do we really believe it? You know, especially, I can't say it enough, especially under pressure, when the obstacles come, when the criticism come, when the fears are there, you know, when folk disapprove, when folk think you shouldn't be doing what you're doing. Can you still stand and trust God in the midst of it that you can overcome? You know, yet fear is going to come. If it did not, he told Joshua several times, he said, fear not. And he told him to do what? Take courage. You got to take the courage. It's not going to just be there, and you don't know how much courage you got until you step out and be obedient and do what God's called for you to do.
And I'm reading this in Judges. In Judges. Okay. It says, pardon me, Lord, Gideon. The Lord turned to him and said, go in the strength you have, and saved Israel out of Midian's hand. Am I not sending you? Gideon said, pardon me, my Lord. Gideon replied, but how can I save Israel? My clan is the weakest in Manasseh, and I'm the least in my family. Okay? Gideon basically was like, I'm Gideon Brown. You mean Gideon Reed around the corner.
Right.
You're not talking to me. And the Lord continued to kind of encourage Gideon. But I like the part where, and of course Gideon goes through the threshing and all that kind of things that he did, and to encourage himself. Again, but what I also like going to hit Gideon, I'm looking at this 7th Judges 7. It says after Gideon, the Lord will do this to you, right? First of all, Gideon finally took the bait, said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and step out and do this, right? So he let Gideon amass this big army. And then in chapter 7 of Judges, he went on and began to whittle down Gideon's army.
Yes, he did.
He said, Gideon, you got too many men. And he began to take the army down.
Those that are fearful, send them home. Okay?
So he's down to 300. So not only will the Lord have you step out, He'll take away the things that your comfort zone.
That's right.
You know,
That's right.
you have all these notes to go to speak, and that's your army. And then as you get up to speak, the wind will blow all your papers.
Oh my gosh.
Or you leave it somewhere. Like, oh my God, where are my notes? What can I do? You go to sing, and your favorite singer, your favorite piano player, doesn't show up.
Right.
Okay. So the thing is, God, the Lord knows. So this is what I was talking about here.
Judges what?
Judges 7. I'm still in 7.
7 and.
Mm-hmm. 7 and 7. The Lord said to Gideon, with the 300 men that lapped, I will save you and give you the Midianites into your hands. Let all the others go home.
Mm-hmm.
So Gideon did that.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing. Now the camp of Midian lay below him in the valley. During that night, the Lord said to Gideon, get up, go down against the camp, because I am give it into your hands. If you are afraid to attack, go down to the camp with your servant Purah and listen to what they are saying. Afterward, you will be encouraged to attack the camp. And Gideon went. Mm-hmm. Now, wait a minute. This don't make sense to me. If you're afraid to attack, okay, well, go down and see what they're saying about you. So he took him and one servant went down to hear.
So you have to remember what he was afraid. He was not afraid of the Lord. He was afraid of the people.
Of the people.
But his obedience to the Lord,
even though he was afraid,
brought him victory. Mm-hmm. So how obedient can we be to the Lord in spite of everything that is going on? Mm-hmm. The Bible says that Jesus Christ endured in Philippians, the second chapter of Philippians, when he talks about him, is that he was obedient even to the death of the cross. Mm-hmm. Okay, how obedient? That is one word. And he asked the question: when he come, will he find faith on the earth? Mm-hmm. And faith, to me, is when you are fearful, you still can stand and walk in. And I honestly believe with all of that the Hebrew boys, okay? He said, we going in.
That's right.
Okay? He said, but if they don't deliver us, we know that he's well able.
That's right. Obedience.
Okay? They were obedient. Okay? God didn't tell them don't go. All right? So, how obedient are we to the Lord when these situations come up in our lives? When the fear wants to sit in, when the obstacles are there.
When you hear people talking about you,
yes,
keeping that obedient. Because see, all of these things here, if you just stay obedient and focus on the vision what God has for you, you can't see all of these things. When you're walking in obedient, you have the strength of God.
He promised to give us peace in the midst of the storms. Okay, and that's all by faith. Okay, but I need to insert this. It also comes with having a relationship with Him. If you don't have it, too many people that don't. The statistic says now that many people in Christendom, as we said, are saying the Bible is irrelevant now. Okay, either the Bible is irrelevant. If you ask how often do they pray or how often do they read the Bible, maybe once a month. Okay, well, people have a better relationship with one another. Okay,
that's true.
And we're talking about the one that made us, our Creator. All right, but I don't have time for Him. But when I get in trouble, then I want to run. That's just like a child. The parent is telling them, "Didn't I tell you? Didn't I tell you to stop? Didn't I? And then they go and I'm gonna use this as an example. I remember Jerome, my son, was with the way the house was made. As you come across, you'd come right to the kitchen, and right at the edge of the kitchen was the stove. And I kept telling him, "Don't touch the stove." Don't touch the stove. And he'd get in his walker and would go running, and he literally got to the point where he'd get right at it and knew how to stop this walker, and he would bust out laughing. Okay? Well, one day he cut it too short, and he got burnt across his fingers. I didn't have to worry about that one anymore. Okay? What I'm getting at is it. People live on the edge. Okay? Yeah. And then when they get in trouble, then they want God to bail them out. But they haven't had a relationship with Him. They don't know what His promises are. They feel like this. I don't need no God. I don't need church. And I just finished saying this to you earlier that I've been talking to people and they say, "Well, I read my Bible and I pray, but I don't do church." So what are you learning?
Yeah.
Okay?
And they don't understand the church is the bride of Christ. So you can't reject the bride. Jesus Christ died for the church.
Yes.
So you can't reject the church and still think you're going to be okay
Right.
because you're pleasing to the Father.
Now let me say
Yeah.
this. I said this to someone.
Mhm.
This thing is ringing. I said this to someone the other day. We were talking. They said, "But these are church." I said, "Right." I call them church folk and Christians.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you go back, I said we forget that Satan bought a ruckus in heaven, and he took a third of the angels with him. Jesus had Judas right there with him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He knew who the betrayer was going to be, but he still showed him love.
Yeah.
Okay, now if he was with the Redeemer, and then we're talking about Lord, the Creator Himself, and then what makes us think we're not going to go through?
Yeah.
What makes us think there's not going to be somebody that pretends to be on our side, okay, in our face?
Yeah.
And not going to do things toward us. So, okay, this is where discernment comes in at, you know? And so it's important that to know God for ourselves, right? It's important, as I said before, seek the Lord about people that are going in the same direction and that can be an asset to you and you to them and whatever the dreams are going to be. Because if you're trying to go with God, but you still holding on to these folk out here that's living any kind of way, doing whatever. I mean, I've heard too many of them say, well, I go to church and I get my praise on, but I still do what I want to do.
Yeah.
How? We don't want that even with our own children.
Mm-hmm.
For those that are raising them up as in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. So we have a responsibility. It's not just all on God, it's on us as well.
Yeah.
Okay? To be obedient, to submit our wills to Him, to love one another, show respect, and all of these things can come to be an obstacle if we're not careful. Okay, we don't want to get self-righteous and holy. I got it all together, so I can't be bothered. No. As someone said, they ain't nothing but the devil. I said, that's the one you're supposed to be witnessing to. This is what you said. I said, that's the one you're supposed to be witnessing to. Okay? And we want it all to be smooth and sailing. We don't want no problems. And so I say all the time, when they say, we think about, well, you want your life to be a bed of roses, but a bed of roses. But if you really think about it, that rose got thorns on it before you get to that beautiful rose. So God teaches us how to handle these things, how to deal with those thorns, how to deal with the obstacles that come up in our life. But the question again is, how obedient and how much do I trust Him?
Yes, sir. Looking unto Jesus, the author and the finisher. We have to look unto Him more than we focus on our fears.
Absolutely.
And like you said, we're going to have these things that come out. We just can't let it stop us.
That's right.
We got to be obedient to God.
That's right.
So we're going to close this episode out. This has been It's Getting Better All the Time Mental Health Outreach, igbatt.com. Email us, igbatt1 at AOL.com. God bless you and good night.
God
We
bless
will
you.
see you